Hey, ladies, we want you to mark your calendar for October 5th through the 12th, 2025, because we're taking you on an epic pilgrimage to Crete.
That's right. We're doing a beautiful retreat called Awakening the Goddess, where we are going to nurture ourselves from the inside out. You're going to be learning all kinds of sacred sexual practices from both the Taoist and the Tantric perspective. We'll be doing yoga every day. We'll be going and visiting sacred sites and really harnessing the energy of the primordial goddess, meaning the original divine feminine energy that is so alive on this island. I was just there last year and it was a game changer for me. And I was like, Leah, we got to put together the retreat that I want to go to. So this is it.
Yeah, there's something very special about women coming together and healing and awakening each other's Shakti to really resolve some of the blocks, some of the hurt, some of the traumas from the past, to shed that dead weight so that you can become more alive. You can become more magnetic, cultivating trust, cultivating vulnerability, cultivating presence, coming into a new state of consciousness in the arms of a group of really amazing women, sisters, and friends you're going to have for a lifetime, including Willow and I. So join us on the plane. Let's get this party started. You can sign up at sexreimagine.com and let's go to Greece, baby.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sex Reimagine podcast. We are so grateful for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. Please keep them coming. We're so excited because today we're talking with Erin Keating, an award-winning TV producer, single mom of twin teens, and founder of Hotter Than Ever podcast. Erin is a badass. She has shaped shows like Portlandia, Vita, Class of Lies, and more. And she's here to talk about breaking the rules, reclaiming your life, and living on your own terms, career, relationships, sex, and all the messy, real stuff in between. I'm Dr. Willow Brown, and I'm here with Leah Piper, and we're so thrilled that you're joining us today.
Those of you who may be looking at divorce, who are ending maybe a significant relationship, and you've got all the fears and all the worries and what's going to happen, and am I still attractive, and I'm in a totally different season in my life, and dating is going to be scary, and it's going to be different because I haven't had to date since I was 20 or 30, and now suddenly you might be 40, 50, 60, and she is going to give you so much hope, so much permission to have a reclamation of your own personal agency, to finally find out, perhaps for the first time, what is the kind of sex you want going forward? Who do you want to be as a sensual, sexual person? How do you juggle that with maybe a new career and kids and exes and all those things that we think about and worry about in transitions in our personal life and our sexual life and our intimate life? So please tune in, turn on, and fall in love with Erin.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagine podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
Welcome, Erin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you both.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started with your podcast.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having this conversation and creating this space for people to talk honestly about sexuality and intimacy and our bodies. We just need more of these spaces in the world. And, you know, part of my journey to starting a podcast was that I was a television executive for 20 years and had very intense and like very corporate, high-powered media jobs. They never felt high-powered in real time, but when I look back and I look at my resume, I'm like, oh, I did some stuff.
I'm a badass.
Maybe I'm a badass.
That's pretty cool.
You know, I got into that work because I just wanted to make cool things with cool people. And I love comedy and the self-expression that comes with creativity and writing and what is now known as content creation, but used to be, you know, making television shows at the time.
Right.
So,
Is that an Emmy I see in the background?
Oh, is that an Emmy?
Oh,
yeah.
Is that an Emmy?
Award winning.
A little Emmy. Thanks for noticing. So I did that for a long time. I was very identified with my career. And long story short, after COVID, I got COVID. After the big, everybody's shut down, whatever, I got vaccinated, and then I got COVID and I ended up in the hospital. And the metaphor is always that the biggest bouquet of flowers that I got in the hospital was for my job. So that's how large it loomed, how large career and stuff loomed in my life, even though I had a marriage and I had twins and, today is their first day of high school, by the way.
Yay, that's a big deal.
I know.
Oh my God.
Huge achievement.
Buckle in. Here we go. Yeah.
Yes, I'm into it.
Yeah. Great.
So, I got very sick and it caused me to have some profound revelations. Like I think happens with a lot of women. It takes until we get sick for us to change. And I say women because that's sort of where I focus on my podcast, but it probably happens similarly for men as well. It's just that we are all so busy holding up the world. We barely have time for ourselves. And sometimes our bodies go, excuse me.
Wake up call. Yeah.
Wake up. So for me, what happened was the getting sick was a catalyst for me to sort of take a look at my marriage and take a look at my life and go, oh God, like, is this it? Like, is this what I want? Is this life working the way I wanted? And I looked so good from the outside. I mean, the resume looked good. I had just bought a house, it was all picture perfect and I was miserable. And I was working too much and running away from my relationship through work, sort of standard workaholism stuff. And, so the sickness really made me reflect on my life. And, I also turned 50, like 2 seconds after I got out of the hospital.
Wow.
So it was all this sort of cosmic moment for me. And my now ex-husband and I were fighting a lot. We had been sort of struggling to keep the marriage together for about 5 years. And we were married for 17 years. After I got out of the hospital, I was like, we need to try couples counseling. In my mind, it was like, this isn't going to work because it hadn't worked the 5 times before. But I was like, I'm really willing to give it a shot one more time to see if we can break through some of the garbage. We were not able to break through. 6 months later, he moved out. And 6 months after that, I got laid off.
Wow.
Bam,
So life
bam.
just exactly handed me this blank slate and said, okay, like, what do you want, lady?
You don't want that. What do you want?
Right. Exactly. And it sort of began a period of soul searching and reinvention and self-discovery that was overdue. So one thing I knew I wanted to do was find my voice again. I had been a writer and performer before I became an executive. I became an executive because I wanted a capital A adult life. I wanted all the grown-up things. And couldn't figure out a way to do that as a creative person and didn't have the additional 20 years that it probably would have taken. All my friends who stuck it out, they're finally seeing success 30 years in, 20 years in. I really needed to make a living. I really wanted to have a place in the world. And I wasn't having the success as an artist in my 20s that I wanted. And so it was a great path for me. And then the universe sort of said, if you want to keep this going, you're going to have to consciously restart everything. And I was like, I think I'm done. And I had been licensing my voice, my evangelism, my enthusiasm, my passion to these companies for years and years. And I thought, what would happen if I actually just said all the things I really think?
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
where Hotter Than Ever was born.
Okay.
That's where Hotter Than Ever was born. I was feeling so liberated by the sort of release of all of these commitments that I had in my life.
God, I bet you felt so much lighter.
I mean, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Like, and I've gone through a physical transformation since that time. I've gone through a spiritual and emotional transformation
And sexual.
and sexual
Which we're going to get into in a moment.
For sure. This is no lead up to that conversation. And the name of the podcast is meant to be, about sexuality and pleasure, but also about vitality and also about midlife and, and a kind of wink at menopause.
Reinventing
I was going to ask about that.
Midlife and
Yeah.
peri and postmenopause.
Yeah. So I've interviewed all kinds of amazing people. I've shared my own journey really publicly in a way that I couldn't when I was representing corporations in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I've told the story of what it was like to go from a marriage that was sexless for 10 years.
Ooh, that's a long time.
We were together for 20 altogether, married for 17. And the last 10, the intimacy had just gone.
I'm wondering if you're able to share a little more specifically about that, because this is a common secret among marriages and couples that have been long-term, probably since the beginning of time, where we come together and we are, you feel like you met your soulmate and the sex is awesome.
Yep.
And you bring out the best in each other. And then the love and the trust deepens. And then we start testing that partnership by trying to heal all of our inner child crap, with our projections around mommy and daddy. So then we give the person we love the most kind of our worst selves, because we can actually trust them to kind of reveal that. And I don't know how much of that is actually impacting sex, but where people find themselves oftentimes 10 years in is, God, I love you, but I don't really want to fuck you. Or I love you, but we've distanced ourselves. We've made all these other priorities. Well, let's just face it. There's all sorts of reasons, and they are as different for every couple that there are. But I'm wondering about the audience right now. And I've certainly been in many relationships where the sex started to fizzle. And then you're like super siblings.
Right.
It is normal.
Yeah. I think that's normal. I think there's sort of science around that of
certainly
the connection, the initial connection fading. We had a very hot start to our relationship. Like, I wouldn't have married him if we hadn't. And I thought I was going to get all of the sex and intimacy that I wanted because I was very sexual and very interested in that. And that was a really important thing to me. But I think through a series of betrayals and, breaches of trust, really in several different ways, I just couldn't come back to it, and neither could he. And, there was physiological factors, and then there's also the interpersonal and the connection. And then once the kids happened, it's not
all goes to the kids.
That all my energy that I had that wasn't going to work was going to them, and I had twins. And the life force that it took to like get these kids, up and running in the world, that felt like the right place to put it. And we had a lot of fracture in the marriage and in the way that we communicated with each other. We both came into the relationship with tons of family of origin garbage, like everybody does, but ours was individually and collectively very intense. And even though we were both in therapy and we were in therapy together and all the things, we just couldn't break through it. And then when there was infidelity and some mental health issues, we just couldn't get back to each other. We couldn't get back to each other. And I'm now 3.5 years separated, 2 years divorced. And I'm starting to be able to think about the early times in the marriage when we were happy.
Oh, really?
And that's new for me because
how does that feel? Is that kind of like a healing or just interesting?
I'm really grateful to remember it. I didn't want to remember it because I was so angry.
Right.
And so needing to reconstitute everything about my life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make me want to hang out with him, but he's in my life. He co-parents to a degree. And so, and they love him. And so for them, it's helpful for me to say, hey, when your dad and I were first together, we did this fun thing, and this was a nice way that he acted and whatever, because they've heard a lot of like from me.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to let myself feel some of that stuff, because I think it creates a more three-dimensional experience of what the marriage was, and why not appreciate what was good about it?
Yeah, I imagine that is
Or
healing.
outweighed the good, ultimately.
Right. But it seems like it's almost like you have to go through like the anger and the hurt or whatever that is like the fire that is required to have a reclamation of the next phase chapter
Yeah.
and to ignite new desires,
Yeah.
to create what you want.
Yeah.
But there is something, I think, healing and filled with wisdom to be able to recollect the beauty, the places that touched you deeply, the good times, so that we have a more full and true picture of our experience.
Yeah.
So what was it like, separating?
Yeah.
And I don't like, at what point in the letting go and living separately did you start to date or start to work with yourself on a new sexual and intimate level, whether that was just with yourself or out there in the world?
Let's take a quick break.
Ladies, do you want to explore your sexuality and experience true sexual healing?
The Vaginal Orgasms Masterclass teaches you and your partners how to unlock your full sexual potential and awaken the G-spot, the sacred spot, and the cervix for an unforgettable sexual experience. Would learning how to finally surrender and release grief, fear, and uncertainty benefit your outlook on life, love, and relationships? We certainly think so. Common misconceptions of the G-spot, including its anatomy and function as an erogenous zone, will be covered in this course.
Plus, we're going to teach you 7 different massage strokes for the G-spot that dissolve blocked energy and increase your pleasure tenfold.
We're going to teach you how to locate the sacred spot and the best methods to stimulate it for maximum pleasure.
And you're going to learn about cervical orgasm techniques, which are the most powerful and also often elusive style of climaxing. This class is primarily geared toward women, but men have taken it as well and learned so much about how to pleasure their partners.
So get ready for multiple O's, my friends. And you can get all of that at sexreimagined.com/female-masterclass. And for being a listener of the show, we've got a beautiful coupon code for you. It is 20% off this course. Just type in podcast20, that's all caps, podcast20, and get yourself a great deal on this on-demand course.
Yeah. I mean, I was ready to, the first thing I wanted was to reconnect with my sexuality. I mean, I really felt such a profound loss of it. I really felt so disconnected from my body, from my pleasure. And I was working really hard to reclaim pleasure in every area of my life in terms of my friendships and traveling and just sort of and experiencing life in a more like letting go of so much that I was like holding so tight to. And
it's almost like you're coming home to yourself again, like your authenticity was alive again and driving you forward.
100%. That's a really perfect way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had gotten to the point, I've always been very orgasmic, and I had gotten to the point where I could not even bring myself to an orgasm.
That was what I was going to ask. Were you like hungry and horny and turned on, or did it feel elusive? And it sounds like it was like elusive at first.
I felt like I was chasing it in my own self-pleasure, and then and I couldn't get there. And so I went onto this anonymous sexting app that I found in the Apple Store. I was not like, there were no dating apps when I got married.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We met online. We met on an online thing, but there were no phones. There wasn't Tinder. It was like, so I randomly found this app and I posted an ad that said, with no picture, totally anonymous, that said, I'm newly free. And after 10 years of no sex and a long marriage, and I'm looking for someone to bring me back to life.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, like, I didn't know.
How many hits did you get like right away? Yeah, I'm sure.
Hundreds.
Bring me back to life, guys.
Yeah,
I
yes.
love that. How fun.
I date
That
men,
must have felt
so,
so
like,
exciting and empowering in that moment.
it was so exciting and so because I left the marriage and I was like, I'm 50 years old. I have the body I have. I look like what I look like. I have the mojo and energy that I have. Like, I had no idea whether I would be attractive to people, whether like anyone would be interested. And I will just say to anyone who's listening, who wonders whether, you know, if they are sexually appealing to anyone, if you are sexually appealing to yourself and you want to have intimate experiences, the world is your oyster.
I love that. That is the ticket right there.
Yes.
Because every day on the apps that I'm still on, I get hit up by guys who are 22, 35, 68, 54, like all races, all body types, all energies, like, it's unbelievable if you present yourself in a way where you're like, I'm available to be connected with, and you put some cute pictures. It is a marketing exercise on some level, but like, not a day goes by without, like, I live in Los Angeles, so like I'm in a big market for dating, but still, like, not a day goes by where adorable guys aren't interested in connecting with me. Right.
I love that.
So
great.
you know, I just say that because I think a lot of women in midlife think nobody wants this, you know, nobody will want
It's
this.
so
Right.
common.
Right.
It's
We
so
feel like we
common.
age out of love and we age
Starting
out of
in
sex and we age out of being desirable.
Right.
And
Yeah, I think like when you're looking for like a proper, you know, the intimate and interrelated relationship and all that stuff, obviously that's a harder search. So finding love is a harder search than finding sexual
Sex.
connection.
Yeah.
But I think it's all possible. I just fully believe it's all possible.
So tell us a little. Let's dive into your sexual journey.
Wait, but I want to
Is that
ask.
where you're gonna go, Leah?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the sexting. Like,
yeah.
was it titillating? Was it awkward? Was it hard? Was it? Tell us about the sexting.
Oh my God. I met this one guy who I never met in person and I never saw a picture of him. Okay. Like, I didn't know his name. I didn't know his deal. And he was like, I will help you. Here's what you need to do. Buy these toys and do what I say. And I was like,
you stepped right into a dumb.
Totally take charge. I ever wanted, right? Because I am definitely a boss in real life and in my sexuality.
You like
I'm
to
much more submissive.
Love that.
Please fucking take care of me and have a moment in my life where I'm not in charge.
Tell me what to do.
That's freedom for me.
Yes.
So, and I have explored a lot of that in the last couple of years and sort of come to really know myself in that way. So if somebody's looking for a woman to dominate them, it is not going to be me. Even though I look like
looking
I might.
for a woman that you'd like to dominate.
Yes. And maybe you're qualified.
Please reach
maybe. I'll consider you. Yeah. So you got to earn that shit though.
That's right. For sure.
Yeah.
So this guy would like, you know, he would step out of meetings at work and be like, I have 10 minutes, go in your bedroom, get this toy, take your clothes off. And then he would talk me through making me come.
Oh my
right.
God.
Now that's who you need
So
on speed
hot.
dial.
It was incredible.
Did you ever meet him in person?
No, I never met
She's
him, but
never met him?
eventually we did. Like years later, he reached out to me. I didn't think he still had a way to contact me, but I guess I had given him. I don't give anybody my phone number. I'm on Telegram, which is totally anonymous. You can block your phone number. I absolutely recommend that for people when they're dating online. Because
Telegram is a texting app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do calls and FaceTimes on there.
Okay.
So
that's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah, it mitigates the safety thing. And also, like, if you get into a conversation, you don't like how it's going and it's feeling not good for you, you can just leave. And then you can leave the connection on the initial app where you met, and then you don't have to have any ongoing relationship with this person if you've decided you don't want that. And I think like making sure that you take care of yourself in that way when you're dating in the digital age, your phone number is connected to so much of your personal information. And if someone wanted to, they could be in front of your house, So I haven't had that experience. Excuse me. I haven't had that experience. I haven't had anything scary happen. But I also go through like a series of steps with people that I meet online where we go to Telegram, we talk there, we FaceTime, or we talk on the phone before we meet. That gives you your body a lot more information.
For sure.
And then I meet them in a public place. Even if, we're going to go somewhere after that, like I meet for a coffee or I meet for a drink or whatever, just to feel it. And so my body makes the decision about, whether I'm comfortable with this person. But by the time I get to a date, I know I'm interested.
Okay, so we went from sexting, and
yes,
then
so we're sexting.
You had these steps to meet people, right?
Yep. And then I decided, after I was able to come again, and that relationship had sort of run its course, which ran for like 3 months, and I was like really wanting to be in touch all the time. And he was not that available for it. Oh, totally. I was like, I haven't had this in so long.
Right.
Give me.
Dopamine and oxytocin
100%
taken over.
100%. Then I was like, okay, I'm ready to meet someone in real life.
Can I ask you a question about that? Was there any part of you with the flood of all that brain chemistry, right? That cocktail of hormonal bliss. Was there any part of you that was like, "Ooh, I could fall in love"? Or was that not even on the table for you?
Was not on the table.
Gotcha.
Was not on the table. Eventually
in last,
but not eventually did. But yeah. So then I picked some dude I was flirting with on Tinder who seemed like smart and interesting, kind of was like my age, but had like a punky teenage boy energy about him. And I re-lost my virginity basically.
Yes.
And I look back on what that sex was and I'm like, now
compared to where you're at now,
compared to sort of what I want and expect and need now.
Yeah.
So for a while I was seeing a bunch of different people at the same time. I had never dated more than one person at a time. I had never not been monogamous. I had never not, I was slutty in my 20s, but I had relationships and after that, and then I was married and I was faithful to my husband and then I was completely shut down. So this idea of my sexuality was mine. I could do whatever I wanted with it. I was transparent with people. I was using these relationships as an opportunity to do things communication wise that I never did in my marriage.
What? What do you mean communication wise? What was different?
Well, I learned to say what's so for me, regardless of whatever the outcome was going to be. So you act in a way that I don't like, I say it. You do something, I need you to text me when we are about to have a date or whatever. I would like you to confirm or whatever. And I don't hear that. Then I say that. And then I say, that's not going to really work for me. I was not raised to have needs.
Right.
Or a voice.
I was raised to accommodate.
Interestingly. Yeah.
Right.
All of this has been a real journey of me being like, well, if I say what I want and I say who I am and I am my full self and you don't like that, okay.
What a beautiful
that must have felt
advantage.
Liberating.
Yeah, you're such a different person when you're in your 50s versus your 20s. And you're able to really have an agency over yourself. That is so liberating.
Right.
To not be attached or to be afraid of not getting someone's love, approval, or appreciation by just speaking your truth.
100%. And I'm also freedom. Not trying to get anywhere. When I was dating in my 20s and 30s, I knew looming in front of me was well, I want to be in a committed relationship because I want to have kids.
Right. You have all these initiations you feel like you have to go through. Right.
And I have to be with someone who fits into my world. And I need to be with someone whose family I connect with, who my family can deal with. There's so much criteria when you're dating for this conventional life that I wanted parts of. I didn't really care about getting married, but my ex did. And so I was like, okay, he wants to marry me. Okay. But I knew I wanted kids. And so I knew I needed money and a career to do that. And all the things, everything kind of stacked up on itself.
All the adulting.
And now, I want to be with someone or several different people who I enjoy their company. The sex is hot. We laugh, they're available. They can communicate. And there were times over the last 3.5 years where I was dating 5 different people at the same time. And it's a job. I mean, it was a fucking part-time job managing all of it, but it was exactly what I wanted and exactly what I needed. I felt so much agency. In general, there's been like a couple, like ongoingly, because I have kids. So when I have free time, I'm like, I want to have a date.
Yeah. Right. Totally.
Friend, or have a date and have sex.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I'm curious, what did you learn about the type of sex you like? Because I think a lot of times people in these relationships, it's not that we don't want to have sex. We're just not having the sex we want. Totally. And then we're not sure how to ask for the sex that we want, or we haven't discovered what the sex is that we want. So tell us what that journey.
I mean, that's been the most fun part, honestly. You should see the smile on her face right now. If you're not watching this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the best part, because I have learned to ask for what I want and to pick people who could keep up with me, because I have fucking intense drive. Like, I have a huge appetite for sex, and I'm super orgasmic, and like, I just want to come. Honestly, just want to come a lot. And also, I've learned more about myself, from a kink perspective, that like, I'm really turned on by my partner taking charge. And that can look a lot of different ways. That can be sort of subtle and more romantic. And it can also be like genuinely kinky and like dominating. Yeah. For a time, I had like a proper dom. Who like, he was like a sex Boy Scout. He would show up at my place with like a backpack full of like props and things that he had like thought through and wanted to try. I was like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
How hard was it when you discovered, because I really relate to that. I am been on a journey of sort of craving more of that sub-dom play. How hard has it been to find men who have the skill, who are dropping in? Are they all over the place, or if you find like you have to go through the weeds because more of the men are more uncomfortable with being in a dominant position, especially as we've sort of changed socially over the years, right? With the rise of feminism, and there's all this cultural impact around, is it okay for men to be dominant? And I think a lot of men, at least my story is that a lot of men are scared to tap into that part of themselves. Has that been reflected at all on your journey of it, or has it been pretty easy?
I don't know that it's been easy, but the guys that I've had long-term ongoing friends with benefits situations with, which is just genuinely that, like, we really like each other, we're friends, but the primary reason we hang out is for sex. I've had a couple of lovers like that, and the ones who stick around are the ones who
are good doms.
Who are doms. Yeah. And not necessarily in a kink like identified capacity,
right? Just naturally.
The more I soften, the more they take charge, the more I show them I like that, the more they do that.
The more they're turned on by it, I bet, as well.
100%. And so like, I had one guy that I saw, and then I had a boyfriend. I fell in love for a year with a guy who was a friends with benefits, who then I fell in love with, and I was monogamous with him. And then I went back to this other guy afterwards. I texted him. I was like, why do you think I'm texting you? And he was like, either you broke up with your boyfriend or you want a threesome.
Good answer.
Never had, and it's still on my list if anybody wants
The
to.
threesome still on your list?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I kept showing up to that because whatever was happening between us was working for both of us. And I've currently been seeing somebody in a friends with benefits way for about a year who I have been encouraging his dominance like the whole time. So anytime, like, we have hot chemistry and he's super sexy and funny and we really enjoy each other, his life circumstances are such that like he cannot be my boyfriend. But he now is so much more dominant than he was.
Because you gave him permission.
Because he's a pleaser. And so he
Oh.
sees
What
that
opens you?
all that stuff that I want makes me really happy, and he wants to give me what I want. And so like that's helped him cultivate his own dominance. And it's been really lovely.
And you have also, Erin, like consciously explored BDSM and kink as well. So how has that informed, you know, your sort of natural submissive, you know, personality? Like how has it augmented or shifted your, you know, role in that space?
Yeah. I mean, the guy I fell in love with was naturally very dominant. And he was like former military and, you know, had this very like upright kind of I'm the boss energy that I had never experienced in a man before. And I was like, just totally wanted to just let him lead. And, you know, that didn't work for life in general, ultimately, but in the bedroom, it was great. But when I tried to engage a conversation about dominance and submission with him, he was kind of like, on Seinfeld, Elaine had this boyfriend named Putty, and she's like, Putty, I'm breaking up with you. And he's like, huh, you're kidding, babe. How come? Like, it was kind of like that. Like, it was like, I never thought about my dominance. I'm just naturally dominant. It's like, he doesn't talk like that at all. This just of it in my head. It was like, I remember trying to engage that conversation and he couldn't or wouldn't and didn't want to. And so after we broke up, I was like, I'm going to find a proper dom. I'm going to go and find a proper dom because I want that experience. And I did. And I went on FetLife, which is, you know, a wild, weird world that feels less weird the more you're there. And I met someone who is genuinely still my friend and we care about each other. And for about 6 months, we did all kinds of dirty things. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And I got to experience a lot of what I was watching.
Cool.
And some of that I loved, and some of it I was like, no, I don't really need this part.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really need the formality or the protocol or whatever. Like, it was fun to try all of that. But
Yeah.
I did dig deeper into my willingness to hand over the reins
Yeah.
to someone else. And, you know, it's a very interesting thing to have that kind of relationship, because even though you're the sub, you're driving the rules of the thing.
It's almost like you're actually the one in charge, but then you're
You're
exactly
allowing
handing
all
over
of
the
it.
reins. I love that terminology.
Like, you're allowing all of those things to happen. You're agreeing to all of those things. And you also have the ability to say, no, stop, red, you know, or like lighten up,
yellow,
or whatever. Exactly. So you know, when you are with someone who is from the kink world and who believes in doing it right and believes in all the communication and advance, you know, questioning of like, what are you comfortable with? What are you not? You know,
it's a really safe environment.
It's really safe. It's really safe with the right person. Yeah,
exactly. There's this study that Leah always talks about in the seminars where like the kids on the playground, when there's no fence, when there's no outer perimeter, they stay really close to the jungle gym, you know, and then when they plant some bushes, like a little bit further out, the kids go a little bit further out from the jungle gym. And then when they put a fence up, you know, it's like the kids go so much further out. So like, you know, those boundaries and the container that, you know, proper BDSM and kink really creates allows you to explore so far beyond what you might
A
feel
bigger
comfortable
playground.
exploring.
Your
Right.
playground
Yeah.
gets bigger, not smaller, and
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, that was certainly my experience. And I haven't been with anybody else who is like as identified with being a dom in the kink world. I just really need to connect on a human level. I don't want anything that's wholly transactional anymore.
Mhm.
That's not entirely true. There's still a bunch of guys in my DMs who I would not mind a transaction with. But I tend to want to relate more. The more comfortable I am with myself, with my own definition of my sexuality, I want to be able to hang. I want someone who wants to know me more. I don't just want like a play partner. Those
Yeah.
are a dime a dozen from my perspective. I want special,
Mhm.
but you can have special in a way that's not, I need to meet your family. Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
you can have special in a way that's like you have inside jokes with each other and you
Mhm.
send each other stupid texts
Mhm.
and then you like make out in the back of a car. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it can still be special. You just, my friend calls it dating like a grown-ass woman.
Mhm.
You don't have to date like a 14-year-old.
Yeah, it seems like you at this time in life, this season of life, you're curating
Mhm.
a specific experience and you're allowing some people to integrate into your life, but not always your whole life.
Not
And
always
so
my whole
you're
life, and no one
finding
meets my kids
oh, that was
unless
gonna be my question also about how because I think a lot of people would love to have the experience that you're having,
yeah.
but they're scared because they think they have kids, they have to be under a different set of rules
Why?
that says, "Don't do that. You can't do that." Like motherhood somehow gets in our way. So
Well, that's
tell
the
us about
patriarchy,
your
right? That's the
agreed.
Yeah.
patriarchy at work. So
Right.
that's the patriarchy telling us what we can and cannot do with our bodies at different periods in our lives. And I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. And I think part of the agency of this generation of women who are now coming into perimenopause and menopause, we are the most successful generation of women who have ever lived on planet Earth. We are the most educated. We make the most money. We're stand to inherit more money from the baby boomers than any generation of women has ever had.
Very
Like
true.
we are extraordinary. And we are now, as your estrogen drops, your desire to accommodate others drops as well. And
Mhm.
so, what I really want to encourage women in midlife to do is to take the fucking reins. Take the reins, do whatever weird thing you want to do, live whatever life you want to live. It does not matter.
Mhm.
It does not matter what
Yeah.
people think of you. And you will care less and less about that the older you get.
Mhm.
And I'm not a believer in the like, I have no fucks left to give. You hear that a lot on social media. I have
Right.
so many fucks to give,
Yeah.
like actual fucks and metaphorical fucks. And, I'm going to put them exactly where I want to put them. I am
Yeah.
not going to let you tell me, society, culture, whatever, what I should care about, how I should live in my life, how I should parent, how I should do career, where I should live, who I should live with, how I should act, how I should spend my money. No, no, I'm going to do it how I want to because I trust myself. And I've had all these years of being a successful human being in the world, making my own decisions, charting my own path. And also for me, like my marriage was running interference from that life path. Like what I feel divorced, like what I feel as a divorced person is I don't have to block and tackle anymore. The path is clear towards what I want and the life that I want. So I just took my kids to visit a college friend of mine and her boyfriend and their crazy compound on an island in Puget Sound. My husband would never have gone. It would never have felt comfortable for him. I would never have brought the kids. Like they're teenagers now. I'm a single mom. I didn't want to take them on vacation by myself. I wanted to hang with my friends. And so what I'm experiencing now is the ability to integrate different parts of my life that needed to be in separate compartments in order to function. Now I can join all the things together that I want to join together. It's still a journey, but
Yes.
Yeah.
it's
What good
much
news.
more me
Yeah.
than
I
it
feel
ever
like
was,
I feel like, yeah, you're such a testament to creating your own reality at any point in time in your life. And, and like that, it's not always easy. It's not always,
No.
in fact, a lot of times you have to dig deep within yourself, but that's the journey and that's the evolution. And that's how you find this resiliency within yourself that allows you to continue to expand and evolve more and more. I'm curious. I love where you're at with your journey with partnership with men. You're like, I just want someone I feel special with. I'm curious
Yeah.
if you crave or if you want ever to get into like a monogamous relationship again. What's your relationship to marriage at this point? Like,
Yeah.
what are
Is
you
there a
thinking?
desire to like be in love for a long period of
Yeah.
time? Was anything like that on the horizon for you?
Yeah. Look, I've fallen in love once since I was divorced. It was awesome.
You loved
It was
it.
awesome. I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
Mm.
I loved him. I loved it. I'm so glad I didn't protect myself and prevent that from happening. Yeah, I'm really like, even though it ended and you never like the way something ends. I'm so grateful to him because he showed me like, oh, I'm super lovable. I deserve to be treated beautifully, and he treated me beautifully. And that there are great guys out there. They come
Yeah.
in different packages than what I expected. He certainly was different than anyone I had ever dated. And yeah, and so yeah, I mean, I want love, I want relationship. I don't know that I want to live with someone while my kids are still at home.
Sure.
That
Like
makes
I
sense.
feel like maybe once they're gone, I would live with someone, but maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Do you have an idea of like if you were to introduce your kids to someone, how you would know? Do you have an idea for that? I bet people would be
Yeah.
curious about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the guy that I fell in love with met my kids.
Okay.
But that's part of why we broke up, is that he didn't want to be that. He didn't want to be anyone in their life,
Mhm.
He wanted me. And I was like,
Mhm.
well,
I got kids.
Yeah, there's
I'm a
a
mom.
package going on.
Yeah.
Well,
But yes, I think if I'm with someone for a long time separately,
yeah.
and we are just wanting to be with each other all the time,
Yeah.
then they will need to meet my kids and then gradually become part of our thing, but probably not all the time.
Yeah, I imagine it
No.
has a natural progression of like the more you connect, the more you keep on liking and wanting and falling in love, and the more that they fit
Yeah.
in these various sectors, that it just has a natural progression.
Yeah, I
That
think
starts to feel
so.
right when you want to introduce them to
I'm
your
not going to
kids.
force anything.
Yeah.
And
Or hold any strict or strong rules or boundaries. I love what you
I
just
don't
said.
know
I wanna
anything. I
I
don't
wanna
know anything.
I love that. Yeah. And one thing you just said was like, I'm so glad I didn't protect myself from falling in
Experiencing
love,
love,
and I
ding,
feel
ding.
like at this point in our lives as human beings, not just women, like there's a lot of protection going on because there's been a lot of deep heartbreak, but it can be such a fine balance and such a fine dance, because I'm personally in that little moment right
Yeah.
now. I'm like, shit, I gotta be careful, with
Yeah.
my heart, but also I want to be present to like what's expanding and what's opening, and just kind of follow the thread as well. As
Right.
It's a dance.
I think a lot of women are taught to have an agenda and to be on the relationship escalator, where that ends up with a white picket fence, and
Right.
it's not fucking real. It's
Right.
not real. And also it doesn't serve us.
Right.
Like there is no there, right? There's no, like, if you like someone and you enjoy spending time with them, it is possible for that to be enough.
Yeah.
And it lasts as long as it lasts, and you stay present during all the good parts. Like that can be enough. And maybe that relationship ends and another thing comes in and takes its place if you're open, or there's several people you have different kinds of connections with. Like I always like to say I have lovers, because it sounds so like I don't know.
Sexy?
Yeah.
It's hot.
Sexy.
It's hotter
You
than
know?
ever, for
It's
sure.
hotter than ever.
Yeah.
I think how you describe what you want and who you want to be in the world is really powerful, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I don't see any reason why I would get married again.
Mhm.
Um, maybe though, maybe we'll need health insurance, or maybe
Right.
I'll want to live in another country, or they'll be from another country. Who fucking knows?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it. And yet, like I never really wanted to do it in the first place. So to me, it seems super romantic to be committed to each other every day and make that
Mhm.
choice every day without something being, involving the state.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
think what's
Right.
really cool about your story is I'm imagining that there's a lot of women or men who've been in a relationship that's been sexless, and they're always weighing in their mind, like, do I stay? Do I go? Will it be worth it if I go? Will I regret it if I go? But I'm so
Mhm.
unhappy here. And it doesn't look like anything. It's like I just have to sort of, I hate to use the word submit, but submit to things never changing, or I can down myself and go find out it's my life. How do I
Yeah.
want to live the rest of it? And to
Yeah.
realize your story really illustrates that you can be scared, but do it anyways, and
Yeah.
realize that you really have the agency and you have the maturity and you have a different season. And you're not living by the rules from the past. You're not
No.
living by your parents' rules. You're not living by the rules of your 20s and 30s. You're not living by the rules of your marriage.
Nope.
You are now living by the rules that you can completely construct.
Yeah, I mean, there's
And
cultural pressures, right?
expand. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
there's social pressures and cultural pressures, and I'm sure some people would judge me for the way that I have conducted my life, but I try to just approach everything with integrity, to be honest, to be direct and clear, to use condoms, like all the things that make me a responsible adult, which I absolutely am. I just happen to be pursuing pleasure in a physical way because that's what lights me up.
all right, I do have a
I
condom
want it.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, so as men get older, and I don't know the age group
Ugh.
that you're dating, it sounds like you've had some variety.
Yeah.
But how challenging is it for the more middle-aged guy to want to use condoms when there can be frustrations with remaining hard or staying hard? That is, a real obstacle that many people face. And I wonder if that is challenging in dating.
It is challenging. But I will say that my sex life is not always
Penetration oriented?
linear and penetration. It's not what looks like in porn, It's not
Mhm.
like what the culture tells you sex is. Like,
Right.
I tend to like guys who want to get me off.
Mhm.
Like that, those are the guys who end up sticking around. Like, their pleasure primarily comes from
Your pleasure.
Yeah,
Pleasuring
your
you.
get off
Yeah.
is their get off.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
find those guys, ladies.
That's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a lot of men. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
that's a
majority
lot
of
of men.
men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that's interesting to hear you say that.
Mhm.
And then those guys, if they have ED, or, like sometimes they do, if they're in their 50s,
Mhm.
and I tend to, the longer term connections I've had have been with guys my age. I'm about to be 54. But my boyfriend was 10 years younger than me,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and his dick always worked.
Mhm.
And, because we were monogamous, like, we stopped using condoms at a certain point. We
Sure.
tested and stuff. But in terms of, like, if you're in a short-term thing with somebody, I think they know that that's table stakes.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like, no one has been like, no, I'm not going to do it. Because
Mhm.
I say it up front if we're texting each other.
Mhm.
Like, I say, and condoms, of course, right? And they're like, oh, of course, of course. I'm like, until we know each other and, we're tested, whatever. Like, of course, of course. Like,
Mhm.
because I'm not a child.
Right.
So I don't
Right.
have to pretend like we're not going to have sex, or,
Right.
I don't like, don't show up at my house with no condoms.
Yeah.
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 Right.
That's going to be problematic for what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Take responsibility here, guys. Yeah.
Right,
I've-
everybody be a grown up.
Come
I've-
prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I think it's interesting to say, and I've never really talked about this publicly, that, like, some of my lovers, like if they're guys in their 50s, sometimes they're hard and sometimes they're not.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
sometimes they take medicine and sometimes they don't.
Mhm.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, as long as that isn't the defining thing in your intimate connection, like
Not a huge problem.
if it's not a problem for them, it's not a problem for me,
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
because I'm certainly getting taken care of.
Yeah.
One thing I really want to highlight that I'm really witnessing in you, Erin, and I want the audience to see this as well, is you have been on such a journey where you have created a new relationship with the unknown. Like
Mm,
you're so much more comfortable with the unknown than you ever had been previously in your life. And at this point in your life to create that like intimacy with the unknown and to be okay with whatever sort of opens up
Well, it
in
sounds like
front
you
of
even
you.
look forward to
Yeah,
the unknown.
yeah, like you're excited about it. I think that is fucking gold, and I'm just curious, maybe in closing, like what wisdom would you impart to people who are like, oh, that shit scares the hell out of me.
yeah. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I feel seen. That's really nice. One of my most popular episodes of my podcast is How to Manage Change. And I interviewed these two women who are corporate like change management consultants, and they've taken that metaphor into the personal realm. And I think we're very fearful. I think we're very fearful of the future. We're very fearful about aging. I do come from some privilege. I got severance from my job. I had a savings account, like I just sold my house because I wasn't willing to go back to corporate life. So now I'm renting. Like I am willing to, at this point, given my track record of success in my life, bet that I'm going to be successful in this next chapter.
Mm,
And I just have evidence that that's what's
right.
going to happen because that is what has happened.
It
Mhm.
sounds like
When I
too,
was in
you
my
trust
20s,
yourself.
I do
Like,
trust myself.
Yeah.
when you trust yourself, you there's a feeling inside that's like, whatever will happen, I'll be okay. Like, I trust myself, I can get through anything.
I didn't think I could get divorced. I didn't think I could be a single mom. I didn't think I could live without this corporate paycheck and status that comes from that. Yeah, all of the things. I thought that all those things would break me or redefine me in a way that I wouldn't like.
Mm.
And turns out that's not true. I
Yeah,
really
you
like myself a lot.
even
And
more.
yeah, I enjoy myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say that the more comfortable you get with change, because change is inevitable and there is nothing you can count on in life other than change.
Right.
There is nothing,
Yeah.
everything will change. So
True.
in a good way, in a bad way,
Yeah.
like
One
inevitably.
thing is guaranteed,
Right.
things are going to change.
Totally. Kids
Yeah.
are such a great metaphor for that because the
Yeah.
second you're like, I'm fed up with this one thing, they change. There's a different thing to be fed up with and a different thing to enjoy,
Right.
But yeah, and I will say like professionally where I am is that Hotter Than Ever, has been a joy and an absolute vehicle of life transformation for me. And it has put me in a community of women who are thinking deeply about all of this stuff, like the two of you.
Mhm.
And I'm so grateful for that. And so my next business venture is called Broad Collective, and it is a network for women entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have to make content in order to grow their audience and to grow their revenue. And so I'm partnering with a really amazing woman who I worked with in my last job. She started a content business herself after we left our jobs. I started Hotter Than Ever, and we both have run into this challenge of like, okay, how do I know what I'm talking about. I have expertise. I want to work for myself. I want my business to be successful. And I find myself looking at holy shit, do I have to post on Instagram every day? Well, do I need a
Right.
Substack, or should I do a TED Talk?
Right.
Maybe I should self-publish a book. Like,
Right.
there's all these questions and all these things that you need to do to get your word out there, to grow your business and whatever it is
Right.
that you're
And it's so
selling.
noisy
It's
already out
so
there.
noisy. It's so easy
Yeah.
to waste
So
money, and it's
time-consuming.
lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And it
so
doesn't
you two
always
have each
generate.
other, which is amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
We're so
Um,
grateful.
Highly recommend having a partner.
And I wanted a partner for Hotter Than Ever as on the business side, and it didn't manifest that way.
Mm.
And so I went down a lot of paths.
Mm.
And then I had this revelation that, like, we need each other, and women don't do power over in the way that men do. Women do power together, and we want to lift
Yeah.
each other up. And so we are starting this community where you can come in, become a member, and get answers to all of these questions of how do I promote myself, and how do I build my brand, and how do I, well, who knows someone who knows how to do this, and should I spend my money? What should my strategy be to get to my goals? So it's really for women like us who have some amazing expertise, have something meaningful to say in the world, and need to figure out a way to grow their audience and monetize.
I love that. It's so
yeah.
exciting.
Thank you.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Broad Collective.
Broad Collective.
Broad
Yeah. So if you go to
That's broad. I
broadcollective.com,
love that.
you'll see there's a survey there that we're collecting data from women entrepreneurs. And I think largely we are focused on women in midlife, because it takes a long time to grow your expertise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that seems so appropriate, because a lot of people who are, I think they say you have 3 careers in a lifetime, something like that. And so a lot of women are starting new careers. Their kids are getting older, so they're not doing as much like heavy lifting childcare. They're starting to be more independent, or they're in college, or they're in high school. They might have that, their marriage might have dissolved, so they've got a whole new set of rules they're recreating.
Yep.
And they have a lot more to say because they've lived a lot of life.
Mm-hmm.
Or they've got a passion project that gives them life that they love doing and talking about and sharing about and spending time on. And then how do you make money doing that? And being your own boss gives you so much freedom.
I think what's happening is that we are, as women enter their 50s and look at their corporate careers and look at the lives that they lived in order to accommodate this conventional adulting path, that when you have kids, usually the kids are what drive the convention, right? And then as that becomes less of your focus, and also corporate life is not very kind to women. It's not very kind to older women. And a lot of us are like, I don't fucking need a boss. I don't need you to tell me I have to work from the office. I don't, I know that I can figure out like a good living with the skills that I have, whether I'm in, health and wellness, or whether I'm a therapist, or whether I'm, a stylist, or, there's all these different things that people do that they're great at, that they can do on their own. And it's just about, how do I do that? And how do I build a presence for myself that will enable me to shed sort of the obligation to do things in a conventional patriarchal way,
Cool.
And so I love the idea that we can all come together and rise together and lift each other up. And so we're just in the process of building the platform and sort of getting our ducks in a row. So drop me a note on at broadcollective.com, or hit me up on all the socials at Hotter Than Ever Pod.
Yeah, check out hotterthaneverpod.com. Check out our episode with Erin on Hotter Than Ever Pod. And you stream everywhere, so it'll be easier to
We're
find
everywhere.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show
fantastic
today.
to have you. Thanks, Erin.
What an amazing conversation. Thank you both for the work you do. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, friends, stay tuned, because up next is The Dish. And you know how much we love to dish it up.
Now, our favorite part, the dish.
Okay.
All right. Let's dish it up
Let's-
on Erin Keating. Isn't she so lovely? I just love her.
Yeah.
She's
Beautiful.
cool. Lovable.
And I really, It's just it I think people, when they take a look at divorce, it can be so devastating. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important for people who have crossed that threshold and then have re-identified themselves, been on a permission quest to do the next part of their life on their terms,
Hmm.
without having to negotiate with someone else, and
Hmm.
just go for what is true and kind of, just play with that journey to hear what it's like.
Yeah.
So they don't have to feel paralyzed when they're headed in a direction,
Yeah.
especially when you feel like your life is over. It's like, no,
The
your
life
life is
you
just beginning
knew was
again.
over.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of a new life. Yeah, I feel like the word divorce has such a negative connotation, but for so many, it's like it's the key to freedom, to, a more authentic version of themselves that they get to play with in the world, and how liberating. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's a journey. It's a serious portal of seasonal transformation. You got to go through a fall phase of clearing, and then you sit in the winter. Who am I after all that I just let go of, that I knew
Yeah.
myself to
You
be?
have to
Like,
kind of rest
and
and
then
digest.
totally, you need to like pause after all the clearing, and then the spring does come. It's nature's way. Like Erin is fucking in her spring, right? Literally fucking in
She's
her
had some
spring.
summers too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, she's gone through the whole seasonal portal of transformation, and I think it's just really inspiring for those who are maybe still sitting in the space of like, God, this marriage is not going to ever make me
Oh,
happy. Like, I
yeah.
need to look at letting it go. And we've all been there. I've never been divorced. I've never been married. So there you go. But I've been in those long-term relationships where I'm like, this just isn't it,
Yeah.
this isn't, and it takes years sometimes to actually walk away from it. And that's
Totally.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It
It
just
it
takes the
takes what it
time that
takes.
it takes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think too, like when even the word divorce, it's like, I think what a lot of people wrestle with is I failed at something.
Right.
And I think that needs to be reinvented, because
By
sometimes we
society.
come together to do
Yeah.
something specific together. Like some people give birth
Have a
to a
kid.
business.
Yeah.
Most people will have a kid. It's like, no, that destiny is you're supposed to make babies together, but you're not supposed to have your whole life together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Different lens.
so can we have more grace for each other in terms
Hmm.
of letting go and finding a new path forward? And it's
Yeah.
daunting and it's scary because of the unknown, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, but if
Trusting
you
the
can
mystery is hard.
learn, yeah, if you can learn to fall in love with the unknown, then you don't take the fear with you, the constriction and the contraction in your nervous system into the unknown. You take the excitement and the joy and the let's see what's going to happen into the unknown. And that's a better frequency to walk into the unknown with.
Yeah, so I'm going to put in the show notes a link to our episode on Hotter Than Ever. And I will also link some of our BDSM episodes with other sexperts, because we brought that up here with Erin's, some of her topics. I will also add a couple links for the experts we've interviewed, some urologists and other toy manufacturers
Or AD.
who are really doing some incredible work with erectile dysfunction. In
Yeah.
particular,
And Trump.
the tech firm,
Oh, the firm tech.
the firm tech cock ring,
Yeah, that's a
which we've had a
great
lot
cock
of
ring.
listeners buy, and they've really loved it.
Mm.
And I also want our audience to know you won't be able to find the show notes on the streaming apps or on YouTube. There will be a link in the show notes that will take you to our website. On our website, you have the option to watch the episode, listen to the episode, read the blog, and that's where all of the resources that we tack onto every episode, whether it's a book or a different interview or the website of our sexpert or
Or a
their
sex toy
products.
company. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really encourage people to check out those links, because we spend a lot of time providing some really awesome resources. So if there's something in an episode that you feel really drawn to, always check for the website, and because it's important to us that we're giving you resources that bring even more value to the show. And if you want to bring value to the show, the way that you can do that is comment on this episode, share your story. What were some of your takeaways? Where are you at in the stages of divorce and dating? or midlife. And the most important thing you can do is subscribe to our various channels. That helps spread our show to other viewers who we know will love it.
See y'all soon.
Love,
Ciao,
love,
ciao.
love.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.
Hey guys, what would it be like if you could last 10 times longer when you're having sex?
We are going to teach you how to gain massive confidence as a lover, all without performance anxiety, gimmicks, or prescription.
This course is perfect for you if you've ever been mortified by a sexual encounter that ended way too early.
Or if you've ever avoided intimacy out of fear that you won't last as long as your lover desires. Or maybe you long to give your partner multiple orgasms but can't last long enough to make that a reality.
Well, good news, we've got your back. And it's in our course, Last 10 Times Longer. Go to sexreimagined.com/last-10x-longer.
And for all of our favorite listeners out there, we are giving you a discount, 20% off, y'all. Just put in podcast 20, all caps, podcast 20, to get your 20% off of this phenomenal course that you're going to want to review more than once.
We cannot wait to see you inside this course. Plus, don't forget, we always got tons of bonuses. See you there.